Hello, my loves. Here are 3 things that you absolutely need to do as a beginner witch. Number 1, deconstruct your previous faith, whether that is Christianity, whatever that is, whatever has brought you to the path of witchcraft, spirituality, because spirituality and religion are 2 very different things. So whatever spiritual path you're walking right now, if you came from organized religion before that, you need to deconstruct that organized religion. And what I mean by that in relation to witchcraft, a lot of times it is very easy to still have the mindset of looking outside of yourself for salvation. So a lot of times, not a lot, sometimes when you hear stories of witches that go back to God and go back to the religious God, let me preface that, right? When they go back to a organized faith, a lot of times they may have been using deities. They've been seeing deities the same way you see figures in organized religion, as things, as beings that will, as something to be revered. Yes. Oh gosh, it's complex. They see them as that is their, like, they have no power on their own. Those deities are going to save them from whatever it is that is happening, and they don't have to do any inner work themselves. That is a problem. Because that is not what that is not what the spiritual path is going to do for you. If you decide to go the spiritual path, whatever modality of work that is, whether it is hoodoo, whether it is witchcraft, whether it is whatever aspect you go, because if you talk to some spiritual practitioners, they may not say that they're a witch. So whichever way you go, you need to understand that you will be faced with your own, it's called shadow work, which is kind of a catch-all phrase, but you are going to be faced with your own darkness. The point is for you to face the dark parts of yourself. And I hate using the word dark because that makes it seem like anything dark is evil, which makes me think that it's like internalized, like it's some sort of like racial thing involved, and maybe that's why they called it dark magic, was to put the correlation between black people and darkness being evil. I don't know. Anyways, you're going to be facing the parts of yourself that need the most healing. Let's call it that. You are going to be facing the parts of yourself that need healing. And sometimes, for some people, it is a terrifying thing to do. And some of these deities that are coming in to help you, they will make you face that. They will be there and they will protect you. But sometimes what they feel you need is to be stronger and stand against whatever comes your way and to deal with that. They will be there and they will assist you and they will help clear the path sometimes. But some of these deities, when they come and you ask for something, part of that work is you going through things. It is you learning to stand in your own power, I guess. And then they lend their power to you. But you need to understand that they are not like angels or even your religious God, where you ask him for something and then you think it's just going to happen because you've asked them and you've given them offerings or whatever the case may be. You have to do the work, and you have to understand that if you are going to walk this path. You are going to be the one who faces that shit. You are the power base. Now, if you look into their studies, that these deities are actually just archetypes and aspects of yourself, right? So if you're looking at it that way, you are the power source. You understand that, right? You are the co-creator you are the power source, and what you are doing in ritual or anything else, like for me right now, I work with most is my ancestors, and I do still work with Hecate, and sometimes entities may come in and give me a message here and there, but I'm mostly doing ancestral work. But they lend their power, they add power to mine in a ritual, right? And that is with any deity as well. You are asking them to give some of their power to you so that you can gain whatever it is you want to gain, or release whatever it is you want to release, right? They are working on behalf of you to help you in whatever aspect, depending on, of course, what offerings that you've given them or whatever the case may be, right? But you yourself also have power within you. You are the one that also activates the ritual. Everything that comes with this, right? Yes, you can have all the ingredients for a ritual you want. You can have all the things on your altar, all the crystals and everything like that. But the true power, none of that matters if you are not also tapping into your true power and understanding that you have it and that you don't have to look outside for a deity to give it to you. They add the power to you. They give you guidance. They help you along your path. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. They help you along your path. But don't confuse them with the religious idea that these beings are there to save you from whatever you're going through in life. You have to do the work, which is honestly why I love it, because it feels like a continuous, like I am a major part of this beautiful thing called my life that is now spanning between not just me in the physical realm, but these deities and my ancestors in the spiritual, right? And it's all energy anyway, right? So like my energy is crossing to theirs, and theirs is crossing to mine to bring about what I want. And sometimes what that looks like initially is chaos. What it looks like is a breakdown in a lot of things, because it has to break down to leave space for what I want to come into my life, right? But the first thing, I'm getting off topics, but that's my ADHD at work. The first thing that you have to do as a beginner witch is deconstruct your concept of religion, whatever religion, organized religion you came from, and understand that these deities are not here to fully save you. They are there to activate your own, to help activate your own power, and for you to face that, to be there to help you face whatever you need to face, whatever aspects of healing you need to face. They are there to help with that. They are there sometimes to shine a light on the aspects of healing that you need, right? On the areas of healing that you need in your life, right? Absolutely, all of that. But they are not going to be the same as an organized religion where you go and you pray and you think that they're gonna do all the work for you. That's not how that works. And I think that is a reason why a lot of people, a lot of witches and practitioners may go back to whatever organized religion that it is. Normally it's Christianity saying, I found God again, and well, whatever. It is because they met an aspect of themselves, or they met some sort of entity or something that scared them so much that they believed that this was evil. Facing yourself, facing the areas of pain within your spirit is terrifying. I need you to understand that, right? It is going to be terrifying for you. It is not easy. If you want to think of it, depending on how old you are, you have had, so for me, I'm 45, decades and decades and decades of pain, of things I've gone through, and the way it has shaped my mind and the way I react to certain situations, everything that has happened and the way it has shaped my mind. I'm not saying my whole life was pain, absolutely not. But you go through certain things in life, and so you react a certain way that is detrimental to your spiritual health and emotional and physical, because it's all connected. If your spiritual health is in crisis, it will eventually affect your physical and your mental. So all these things that happened, right? All these feelings that I had that created what it is, it's not going to magically like fix itself and you not go through any pain of that transformation. If you look through nature, every animal that goes through a transformation, I'm going to give the perfect example I always give is a butterfly. They literally completely melt into goo. The only thing that stays is the spine. I think that was what I read. The only thing that stays in a butterfly when it dissolves is the spine, is the base, right? Which message there too, right? The core of who you are never changes. But everything else needs to dissolve and be reformed. And then that cocoon cracks just a bit, and now it's your time to work and strengthen your wings. Push against it little by little to strengthen your wings, so that when it does crack open, you're strong enough that you can just fly and go wherever you need to go, and trust that your wings are strong enough to handle any current of air that hits you, right? That you're able to adjust to that. That is the same thing as spiritual healing. You are going to be faced with parts of yourself, with parts of your memory, right? Because our brain wants to protect us from the worst memories, wants to protect us, generally speaking. And so when you are looking deep within yourself, when you are being faced with these things, when you're saying, oh, I want to manifest this life for myself, you have to heal and go through various things before that life becomes a reality. And that is going to be painful to do. But it doesn't mean that it's not work worth doing, right? It doesn't mean you're not also going to have beautiful moments of joy in your life. That's a beautiful thing that's also been taught, is how to enjoy moments in life. Even as you're doing the work, even as you're healing and going through this, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the moments in life. And sometimes your spirit guides, deities, whoever you work with, will bring things into your life that you're like, okay, and it will just bring such joy, right? Because at the core of it, if a deity has chosen to work with you, and that also is how it is, by the way, you don't choose them. You can be interested in them, but the final choice is theirs. They got a lot going on. So if a deity chooses you, it is because they want happiness for you. It is because they have seen the value in you, and they have chosen to help you and be like, yes, I'm going to work with you and I'm going to help you. Now you have to follow their rules. Every deity has different rules that they work by, and some are stricter than others. Some are more mother energy, and are more like, if you need that mother energy, a lot of times the deity that will choose to work with you will give you that energy. This is why also there are studies that they believe deities that you may work with are archetypes of yourself. It is aspects of yourself, or aspects of what you need at that particular time in your healing. But that's a whole different video. That they will give you, if you need that mother energy, then a lot of times a deity will show up who has that. You know what I mean? Sometimes, I believe sometimes we're chosen from when, like, they can feel our energy and they can feel what they need, which is why sometimes a deity will just show up to you and you'll be like, oh wow, that's interesting, I never thought. And then you research them and you're like, oh, absolutely, you're exactly what I need right now. You know what I mean? Like they'll show up to you in different ways, and that's because something about your energy they feel that they can help with. Sometimes, yes, you can call them in, you can be like, I want to work with this particular deity, and you call them in. But if that deity doesn't show up, it means that they don't want that's not who you're meant to work with, right? But anyway, deconstructing your original religion is necessary as you move into this. Second part, trusting your intuition. Do not buy into, because a lot of beginner witches, I know y'all are probably strong on social media. Of course I am too, because it's part of my business as well. But yes, I'm also on social media, and what I am seeing is a lot of these witches are doing spells and sharing information that is not always for you. Discernment is going to be your best friend on this journey as a beginner witch. Learn all the things. So I feel like you should read books, read information, look at these videos, whatever the case may be. If it resonates, I would look deeper into it and ask, okay, is this for me? In the very beginning, it's going to be hard to hear your intuition. It's going to be hard to hear, and your intuition can sometimes be tied to your spirit guides, honestly, right? Because some of y'all have ancestors that are dying to talk to you, and you just have to tune in and listen to them and hear them, right? Some of y'all have spirit guides that have walked with you from the minute your soul hit this physical plane, and you just now have to tap into your intuition enough to actually hear when they say, yes, do this, no, don't do this, that's not for you. So you are going to have to work on strengthening your intuition muscle, but don't follow what everybody else is doing. Don't say, oh, you know what? I'm going to give you a perfect example, because it's something that's evolved with me and my practice. Honey jars. In the beginning, when I first saw everybody in the world on TikTok doing honey jars, I said, oh, this doesn't feel like it's for me. Because when I did my research, what I found is that it traced back to hoodoo. Now, mind you, different indigenous cultures throughout time have used honey as in their practice, as a form of practice. But I found that it went back mostly to hoodoo, which is not my lane. That's not my lane at all. And so I said, I don't think it's for me, right? And then literally 4 months later, I want to say, I was in meditation, and like one of my ancestors, but also Hecate, came through and was like, oh no, it's time to do a honey jar. And they literally gave me the ingredients that I needed to do the protection honey jar that I did for myself. And then I just did one that was for money as well. But that's because they literally said, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to put in it. This is what, and now you go ahead and you work and think about what's the focus going to be. Let's iron that out. So we worked together to do this ritual, because at that time they told me, okay, now is your time to do it. Now it feels right to do it. Now we're going to give you what you need to know to do it. I felt called to do it. But when I first saw it online, at the time, I said, no, I don't think this is for me. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do. It's very fascinating. I love learning all this information, but it's not for me. Discernment is going to be something that you need to hone. You need to hone intuition, discernment, whatever you want to call it. You need to hone that muscle inside of you, that spiritual muscle, that energetic muscle, to understand, okay, I'm learning these different things, but I don't think it's for me yet. The number one thing, of course, you're supposed to be doing anyway as a beginner witch is protection magic. That, before you do any other rituals, protection rituals need magic, and protection circles around yourself before you leave your house are fundamentals. Like if you don't already do that, then you need to stop doing whatever you're doing and go back and do that and learn it. That is the fundament. If you are not protecting your energy before you dip your toe into these other rituals of whatever that may be, you're setting yourself up not just for possible failure, but for a spiritual attack, for something to ride the waves of what you're calling in and attacking you because you are not properly spiritually protected. So protection magic is the first thing you need to be learning, first and foremost, right? But when you are learning all these different things and reading all these different books and seeing all these different videos from other witches who have maybe decades of experience, even like me, right? If you go through my feed, my YouTube channel, and see my videos and learn from me, great. Use your discernment though to decide if what I'm telling you is beneficial for you. My message is not always for everybody. And maybe your path is different, which is the beautiful thing as well about the craft. Whatever modality you go to, everybody's path of healing is different. So something that I may tell you and that I have learned within myself, because that's what I'm here, really. I am here because these are lessons that I've learned within myself, and I share those lessons with the collective at large. But a lesson that I may learn, something that I may teach, may not resonate with you. It may not be what you need in your healing journey at that moment in time. Maybe later, but maybe right now, that's not going to resonate with you. You have to practice tightening your intuition, like literally just and sitting in stillness is so important as well, especially in the bit, if you want to call it meditation, but just literally sitting and listening. Sometimes the loudest is, it can be your ego, it can be other things, but just sit in silence for longer and listen to what whispers to you. A lot of times your intuition will start off as a whisper to you. It will, because everything else is so loud in your head. I'm gonna give you, here's a quick little meditation that you can do, or visualization. I'm gonna say visualization. A quick little visualization that you can do for yourself is to, when you sit in silence, find a quiet place, sit, imagine that you are like you're sitting on top of a mountain, but not just that, you are connected. Your spine is a root system that grounds and connects to the mountain. You are into the earth. You are part of this grounding earth base. And every thought that comes in is a cloud. You can literally, the thought comes up, you see it as a cloud. Okay, I'm thinking, and you let that cloud pass you by. So you're recognizing your thoughts, because there's no way for you to stop your thoughts. That's not possible. And I'm ADHD. My brain is forever going. So this is the way that works for me as a neurodivergent person, is to, and especially when I was first starting. Now now I hear my spirit team so much that it's like I still do meditation, and I still do my connection with them, my deeper connection with them, but I use other ways now. But when I was first starting, this was the one that helped me a lot to filter through. It's to imagine that those thoughts are clouds. Like if I have a thought, I literally put it in its own cloud and I let it pass me by. So I'm recognizing all these thoughts that are coming, but they're just clouds passing by. And I keep doing my deep breathing, breathe in deep. I do the 3-6. So breathe in deep for a count of 6, hold for a count of 6, breathe out for a count of 6. You can also do 4, 3 4s. Breathe in deep for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, release for a count of 4. But doing that breathing as well while you're doing that. But just imagine your thoughts as clouds. You recognize them and you just let them pass you by. You're not holding attachment to these thoughts. They're just passing you by. And the more you do that, the more you'll start to be able to hear this like whisper in the back. Like if you ask, because before you sit down, you also want to ask, what is my intention here? What do I want to know? When I sit down in this silence, what's a question that I have? What is something that I want to know? What's a feeling that I want to bring from this, right? If I just want to have peace or whatever the case may be, if you sit in that space asking a question before, you will eventually hear something or see something. Sometimes you may see an image as well, because your answers come to you in different ways. But for me, I'm auditory. I hear before. I don't like see things. I will always hear them. What is that, clairaudience? Is that what that's called, when you can hear spirits and not see them? But you will hear that voice coming through, and that is what you need to. And so start getting into that space more and more and hearing it, and eventually it will be steady and loud enough in your head that you can literally just go throughout your day and be like, I wonder this, and you will hear it I hear them eventually you're going to also be able to distinguish between whether it's your ancestors, whether it's you, whether it's a deity you're working with. You'll be able to, that's further along in your path. But just for beginner, honing that intuition and really getting used to listening to it, to that version of yourself that already has the answers. Because that's also what I think. Sometimes, yes, it's your spirit team, but sometimes it is the version of you that already has the answer for the question that you have. Because your soul is massive. What is in your physical form is a small portion of it. Your soul is across, it's across timelines, it's across realms, it's in other versions of you and other timelines. It's everywhere. So sometimes your intuition could very well be your soul in another version of you who already has the answer coming back and whispering that answer to you, because time is not linear. So, and then if that's the case, then it's not possible. Maybe it's not coming back at all. Everything is happening simultaneously. So it's almost like it feels a vibration. You know what it reminds me of? And I've said this before, but it makes me feel like a spider web. Or even I've compared it to like the brain neural pathways. But that kind of thing. Although now I'm thinking of it, spiderweb makes more sense. You touch one spot on the web, and it reverberates through the entire thing, right? So one emotion, one question, one thought on this part of your soul, on this part of your spirit, reverberates all throughout to the rest of the timelines and the rest of the realms. And they can feel it. That part of your soul can feel it and sends the answer back to you. I don't know if that really happens, but I just said that and I felt like that was right. So imagine it like that. So you have to get really good at listening to your intuition and following that. Even if you don't know the why. You don't know the why of why you feel like that, but it's still the voice that comes through and will tell you what you need to know and answer what you need to know, right? So that's the second thing, discernment and intuition, strengthening those two things. Because we are in an age of information and technology, it is overwhelming. And some of these practitioners are on their way to psychosis. They haven't done the work to be in a place to teach yet. I said what I said. They're not there yet. But other newbie witches and practitioners are seeing their things and trying it and then wondering why either it doesn't work, it doesn't fit, or some other really bad side effects happened from it, right? You really have to take this information in, learn all the things, read the books, and then decide for yourself what feels right, what feels like the right path for me, and move from there. There's no wrong way to move along this path, right? It's just you. Your healing is not linear, just like time, and you have to just flow with that, right? So for me, I first started learning about all of this through Wicca, and then eventually realized that is not the path for me, and moved forward from there. And then I went into different things, learned about different, there's so many labels for for different witches, and so I was like, oh, am I a kitchen witch? Am I this witch? Am I a water witch? Whatever. Like you're learning all of these different things as you're going, different elements that you want to work with that do different healing at different times, and that can change as well, right? You may start out working with one particular element, and then it shifts and changes into another one that works better for you at different seasons of your life. So it is continuous learning and continuously asking yourself, is this for me? Sit in silence. This is what I learned today. What resonates? What feels right? What should I do further research into? And then follow that path. Also understanding that some practices are closed for a reason and you can't get in. So you can learn about it, but that may not be the path for you. So that being said, so that is going to be that one that you need to absolutely know is discernment. Discernment. Third thing you need to do, you need to do a spiritual bath. You have to be doing a spiritual bath cleanse. I tell everybody this. I sell them on my shop, so you can go to the link in my bio and you can see it there. But if you don't want to buy mine, there are ingredients. I would say you can put the ingredients together yourself and do your own work over it, right? Like I put my intention into it before I send it to customers or whatever the case may be. But if I always suggest that you also put your own workings on it as well. You also say, okay, because I use different ingredients in mine, right? Like my base is always chamomile, anise star, cinnamon, clove, bay leaf, and rose to be softer and love yourself more, right? So those are the ones that I use. But there are a ton of different protective herbs and plants and cleansing. So mine are for protection and cleansing, right? So, but there's a ton of different herbs and plants that you can use for protection and cleansing yourself. So if you want to do it for yourself, you absolutely can. You can go and you can buy the herbs yourself, put it together. I put mine in a where's my bag? I don't have it here. I put mine in like a tea bag type thing, so I can literally just boil it and then I use it in the shower because I don't have a bath. So it's called a spiritual bath, but I pour it over my entire body in the shower as I'm envisioning it cleansing my spirit, cleansing my energy field, and adding a layer of protection. That's how I do it. If you have a bathtub though, you can also pour that liquid straight into the bath, right? Straight into the bathtub. Some people put the actual herbs themselves in the water. That's too much cleanup for me. Again, ADHD. The very idea of having to clean up will make me not want to do the bath in the first place. That's too many steps. There's already too many steps just to shower, okay? Just to regularly shower is exhausting to think about sometimes. So imagine having to think of, oh, I'm going to do this spiritual bath and then I just put all the herbs in there, and then after, that's added stress. So now I've cleansed myself and I have protection, and now I stress myself because now I have to clean out all of that's too much. So for me personally, that's why when I make it for myself and when I sell it, it's always in like a tea bag design type thing. So you can put it on the stove with the water, let it sit, percolate, heat up for like 3-4 hours. It's normally what I do. If you're making your own, and also it's very affordable to buy those tea bags through Amazon as well. As I said, you don't have to get mine. You don't have to get anybody else's. You can make your own. Oftentimes, actually, if you're making your own, there's even more because you already know what your intention is. You're pouring that into it already, right? But I know a lot of people that they don't want to take. Sorry about that. My video decided to stop right quick. Okay, yes. So I know for a lot of people, they don't want to take that time. They just want to be able to like to buy the ingredients themselves and all of that. So spiritual bath is very, very important when you are, honestly, I think you should be doing it no matter how long you've been on this journey, but especially when you're transitioning over and you're starting a new path. You want to get rid of any energy that may still be on you, that is any sort of negative energy or anything like that, that's still on you. You need to get rid of that. And so doing a spiritual cleanse, I should say a spiritual herbal cleanse, let's call it that, since as I said, I do mine in the shower. But a spiritual herbal cleanse is very, very, very important. If you are from a particular culture, I think it would even be more beautiful if you find herbs that are indigenous to your culture. That would be a beautiful thing as well, to use those particularly in your healing, so that you're tied even more, it has more impact, right? Because it's across ancestral lineage, it's across your cultural lineage. So I think that'd be a beautiful thing to do as well. If you are from an indigenous culture, if you have a particular culture that you are aligned with, finding herbs that are indigenous to that would be a really cool thing to do for a protection and a cleansing. But that's the third thing. Spiritual herbal cleanse. Absolutely. In fact, in the very beginning, I would even do like 2 a week. 2 a week. Just to cleanse you as you're learning all this information and as you're absorbing all of this energy, because everything carries energy. So, and things ride the technological frequency to get to you. Keep that in mind as well. But that is also a whole different video. The idea that there are entities that ride the waves of the frequency of technology to give messages to different people. But anyways, so those are 3 things. Okay? Thank you for staying as long as you did. I so appreciate you and everything you are. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Janae. I carry a lot of labels: a witch, spiritual practitioner, ADHD, jewelry designer, content creator, but at the core of it, I live a soul deep happy life. I share the lessons I learn along the way, and I create what inspires me. So I hope this lesson helps you, and if you're interested, you can watch more videos through my entire channel, and please don't forget to like and subscribe so that you're kept updated when the next one comes along. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.